الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا اللهم بما علمتنا وزدنا اللهم علما وعملا إنك ولي ذلك والقادر عليه. أما بعد، فهذا درسنا في شرح بلوغ المرام للحافظ ابن حجر رحمه الله وغفر الله لنا وله ولسائر المسلمين. أما بعد، وقفنا عند باب شروط الصلاة في كتاب الصلاة من هذا الكتاب. We're going to we'll continue with our explanation Bulugh al-Maram from Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar rahimahullah, and we left off in the chapter of the conditions of prayer. Conditions of the prayer. والشروط جمع شرط وهو ما يتوقف عليه صحة الشيء. فشروط الصلاة هي ما يتوقف عليه صحة الصلاة، فإذا اختل شرط من هذه الشروط فقد بطل الصلاة، فلا بد من توافر هذه الشروط. وقد أخذنا أو مر علينا الكلام في الشرط الأول وهو دخول الوقت، وأخذنا باب أوقات الصلاة وتعلمنا ما يستفاد من هذا الباب. So first of all, the condition is that which is dependent upon it, the authenticity of a thing or the correctness of a thing. Meaning the condition for the prayer are those matters that if they're not present, then the prayer is not valid. The prayer does not count. Okay, we took the first condition previously in the previous chapters. Recently, we took the chapter of the conditions or the timings of the prayer. For the first condition, therefore, for the acceptance of our prayer is the time must have come in already. We cannot pray before the time. Okay, and we learned the timings of the prayer, Fajr, Dhuhr, so on. So if someone prays Fajr before the dawn, his prayer is not accepted. He has to repeat that prayer. Even if he did so forgetfully, he forgot for some reason, he still has to make up that prayer when the time comes in, and so on. The second condition is Satrul Awra. Or before that we'll say, the second one is a tahara, is that a person should be upon purity. Should be upon purity, or الطهارة من الحدث الأصغر والحدث الأكبر. He should be upon purity from the major and minor impurity. Major impurity is that he has janaba. If he had relations or a wet dream or the like, he has to take a bath before he can pray. No matter if he prays 1,000 times, upon this condition, his prayer would not be accepted. Okay, and also if he has gone to the restroom, he has violated his wudu, he cannot pray not on wudu. And the proof for that, the author didn't mention actually, but the strongest proof for that is a hadith, لا تقبل الصلاة بغير طهور, that the prayer is not accepted without having purity. لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ. Another narration that Allah does not accept the prayer of one of you who has gone to the bathroom, has violated his wudu, until he makes wudu. Okay, and then he prays. Obviously, this hadith is in Bukhari, that a person, he goes to the bathroom, he has to make wudu before his prayer can be accepted. So this is the second condition. And the hadith the author brought, hadith al-mi'a والسابع والتسعون, هو حديث علي بن طلق رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا فسى أحدكم في الصلاة فلينصرف وليتوضأ وليعد الصلاة. رواه الخمسة وصححه ابن حبان وضعفه الألباني في ضعيف أبي داود. So this hadith, the author brought it to indicate that which we said, that the purity is a condition for the acceptance of prayer. But like we said, we have a better hadith, which is in Bukhari, which says the prayer is not accepted without purity. This hadith the author brought is weak, okay? But the meaning is contains the correct meaning. This hadith says, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when one of you passes gas, and from his back, and in the prayer while he's praying, then he must leave the prayer and then go make wudu and then restart the prayer from anew, from the beginning. Even if he was in the fourth rak'ah of Dhuhr or Isha, and then he passes gas, he's in the prayer, he has to leave. He can't say, I'm just going to stay in the row and so on. He has to leave the row, okay, and he has to make wudu and start prayer from the beginning, okay? This is the correct meaning. Although the wording is not, we can't say the Prophet ﷺ said, but the meaning is right. And the wording we'll just go through the wording which is mentioned. What is fasa or fusa? Fusa هو الريح التي تخرج من الدبر بلا صوت يعني يتفارق بين الفساء والضرات. والضرات هو ما يخرج من الصوت من الدبر أو يخرج من الدبر بصوت، وأما الفساء بلا صوت والضرات بصوت. هذا هو الفارق بينهما. So what is the difference between the wording is a fusa, which is that which like you say a silent gas, okay, that does not make any noise, okay. Durat is that which makes a noise. We know the hadith, shaitan, when the adhan or the iqamah is heard by him, he runs away making sound, okay. So this if this happens to a human being, okay, then he has to leave the prayer. He has to leave the prayer. That's the point. فلينصرف, okay. وليتوضأ لانتقاض الوضوء. He has to now make wudu because he broke his wudu. وليعيد الصلاة, and he not continues, but he starts the prayer from anew. Okay. وكيف لو كان يعني صلى على غير طهارة ناسيا أو جاهلا؟ يعني مثلا صلى المغرب على طهارة ثم انتقض وضوءه ذهب للحمام ثم نسي أنه أحدث بعد المغرب فصلى العشاء على حاله، فما حكمه؟ قد صلى العشاء على غير طهارة ناسيا أو جاهلا. القول يعني الصحيح أن عليه إعادة الصلاة، عليه أن يتوضأ ويعيد الصلاة، صلاة العشاء. So what if a person prays a prayer without wudu, but he forgot, okay? He forgot that he didn't have wudu. For example, a person prayed Maghrib, okay? Like we prayed Maghrib now, and then he passes gas. And he forgets that he passed gas, and he goes, and time for Isha comes, and he prays Isha on his condition. And he finishes Isha prayer. He said he has to go and make wudu and pray Isha again. Okay? He has to pray Isha again. لأنه ترك واجب، ترك شرط من شروط الصلاة, because he left off something which is from the conditions of the prayer. Okay, ترك المأمور. ترك المأمور, if the person does not do that of obligatory action, then even if he forgets, he has to repeat that prayer. Yeah.
Well, what if the prayer passes and then after that you forgot, and then the prayer passes and another prayer comes in?
It's okay. As soon as he remembers, he can pray. As soon as he remembers that he forgot that prayer, he prays, even if it's after time. Okay? Even if it's late, he still has to make it up. So the question is, what if he forgets, he remembers later? What if he doesn't remember till Fajr the next day that he prayed Isha without tahara? He has to pray when he remembers. There's another hadith that من نسي أو نام عن صلاة فليصليها حين ذكرها. Another hadith that person who forgets the prayer, he should pray it whenever he remembers, even if it's later. Okay, so that's if he forgot and prayed without tahara. Okay, what about okay? The third matter or condition is ijtinab and najasa, that a person has to stay away from any type of najasa upon his body or upon his clothing, okay, or upon the place where he's praying. If he's in a place there's filth there, something of like dog droppings, okay, or something, he can't pray there. If it's something on his clothing from something like something got on her clothing, maybe dam al-hayd, a woman has blood from her menses on her clothing, and she prays with that clothing, then or she has to remove that or wash that clothing and pray in clean clothing. Because if she prays with that on her body, on her clothing, that najasa, then her prayer batila is not accepted. Okay, there's a proof for that. The proof, we took this hadith in كتاب الطهارة. ما جاء في الصحيحين من حديث أسماء بنت أبي بكر أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال في دم الحيض يصيب الثوب، قال تحته ثم تقرصه بالماء ثم تنضحه ثم تصلي فيه. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said about the blood of menses, which is najis blood. We said the difference between blood of like a nosebleed, okay, or a cut or something. There's no proof that that's najis. Person has a nosebleed in the prayer. Al-qawl al-rajih yastamir bi salati. He continues to pray. Okay, we're talking about dam hayd, the dam najis. The blood that which is impure is that which comes from the menses for the woman. So the Prophet ﷺ said, if that blood comes on the clothing of one of you, anybody's clothing, then you must scrape it off, okay, and then moisten with water, rub it out, wash it, and so on completely. And then he said, then and only then can you pray in it. What do we understand? Then you can pray in it. من قبل هذا التطهير ما يجوز الصلاة فيه. Means that before you purify it, you can't pray. When he said then you can pray, I mean this is condition. This thobe cannot be prayed in with the filth. You must purify it. So that's the proof. Also, okay, في الحديث, okay, okay, كيف لو نسي الإنسان وصلى في ثوب فيه نجاسة ثم تذكر أثناء الصلاة أو بعد الصلاة أن فيه نجاسة، هل عليه إعادة تلك الصلاة أو صلاته تجزئه? What if a person forgets? We're going back to forgetting now. If he prays with some clothing or shoes that has some, dog droppings on the bottom of his shoes, okay? What if he prays in that and he doesn't realize until the middle of the prayer, okay? Or after the prayer is done even, he realizes that. Does he have to re-pray with clean shoes? Okay? The correct answer is no. Okay? If he remembers during the prayer, he simply has to just remove those shoes and continue praying upon his condition. And if he remembered after the prayer is done, then he can't go back, but the prayer counts. Prayer counts. So you see the difference between fi'l al-mahdhur, doing something which is not allowed, which is praying in najasa, wa tark al-ma'mur, and leaving something obligatory, which is wudu in the prayer. The difference is when you leave something obligatory, you're not excused if you forgot. If you did that forgetting, you have to bring it again. But if you did something that you're not allowed, like praying in najasa, out of forgetfulness, you're excused. Okay? This is the hadith differentiates between this and that. All right? That's the basis for the differentiation. Tarkul mahdhur. Okay, so therefore, the proof for this, what's the hadith? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the proof, كان صلى يوما فأخبره جبريل أن في نعليه نجسة أو نجاسة فخلع نعليه واستمر بصلاته. So the Prophet ﷺ one time was praying and he had under his sandals some filth. He didn't realize. And while the prayer is going on, Jibreel alayhi informed him that he has something. So what did he do? He just took off his sandals and continued to pray. That's the proof. Okay? So if you do something forgetting, like having some filth on your clothes, you're excused. As long as you remove it once you realize, of course. So that is the third condition. The first is دخول الوقت. The second الطهارة. The third اجتناب النجاسة, to not have any filth on you. Okay, so this, returning to this hadith, طيب إذا قال قائل إذا حدث ذلك لي وأنا في الصف فهل لي أن أبقى وأتابع بلا نية. So what if a person happens, he's in the prayer, he's in the row, the sheikh is giving this hypothetical thing, which can happen. He's in the row of the prayer and then he passes gas. Can he remain in the row and say, I'll make it up later? I know that my prayer is invalid, but I don't want to, I'm shy. I don't want to leave the row, and make this scene. So I'll just stay in the row and make it up later. The Sheikh said, لا بل ينصرف حتى يعني يتوضأ ويدرك ما بقي من الصلاة. So he said, no, rather he has to leave. Okay? Because there's no point in him. There's no benefit for him to stay in the row. بل يقطع الصف. He's going to cut the prayer by a person who's not praying. He's like a gap in the middle of the row. So he must leave, even though this hadith is not authentic. This hadith says he must leave. But regardless of this hadith, we know that there's no benefit for him to stay. And he can still catch the jama'ah. He can just go make wudu, okay, and come back. Maybe he'll get the last raka'ah and continue praying and build upon that. حتى ولو كان إمام, even if he's the imam. الإمام إذا انتقض وضوءه فليس له أن يبقى يصلي بالناس. هذا لا يؤثر في صلاة المأمومين, لكن هو يأثم في هذه الحال. يقول الشيخ عليه أن يعني يخرج من الصلاة ويعني يقود واحد من المصلين يكون إماما, أو هم يعينون واحدا منهم يكون إماما لهم بدلا من الإمام الذي انتقض وضوءه. So a person, for example, is the imam. Okay, he cannot say, if he passes gas, and say, I'm just going to stay here. It's going to be difficult for everyone, a lot of movement and so on. I'll just stay here. If he does that, okay, he's sinful. Okay, because he's just doing no benefit. Although it doesn't affect the prayer of the people behind him, because they're not responsible for his mistake. But what he should do, the correct thing, he should leave, and he should pull up one of the people behind him to be the imam in his place. Okay? And if he doesn't pull someone else, once he leaves, they should realize, and they should indicate to one of them, whoever is behind the imam, to come up and take his place. Okay, that's how it should be. And if they don't realize that even, they can pray alone without an imam. They can each pray individually, and that prayer is valid. But he cannot pray in this condition without wudu. He has to leave and come back.
Because of situations happen like that, where the imam has to be replaced. Then in the front row, there should be people who know what happened.
Yeah, there's a hadith that Prophet ﷺ said, let those who are knowledgeable people be close to me, like right behind. So the people right behind the imam should not be kids or people who don't have knowledge. Kids can be in the first row, no problem. It's not like some people say kids cannot be in the first row, they have to be. No, the only thing is the kids should not be right behind the imam, because that's a place where واحد يفتح على الإمام, one person, if the imam makes a mistake in his recitation, the people who can correct him, knowledgeable of the Quran, they should be right behind so he can hear them very easily. And like in this situation, if he has to leave, they'll be close. They can come right up, and without much break in the prayer. And they'll continue to pray like that. There's no problem. Okay. و يعني كون الطهارة من شروط الصلاة يدل على عظم شأن الصلاة، بأن الإنسان عليه أن يعني يقوم بين يدي الله في أكمل حال على الطهارة يعني المعنوية والحسية. And also this indicates that the purification is a condition of the prayer. This tells us how important the prayer is. The prayer, a person should be, recognizing that he's speaking to his Lord. Okay, when a person is speaking to his Lord, this is munajat, a secret counsel between him and his Lord. He should come to his Lord in the best way. Okay, and this shows the importance of the prayer, that it deserves that a person should be in a most correct condition, both spiritually and physically. Spiritually, meaning his heart should be clean from any filth, from shirk or riya or showing off or bid'ah or arrogance or hatred or something like envy. All those diseases he should be clean, spiritually and physically. Physically from the major or minor impurity. Okay, so the next hadith, so that is what the third condition, the second and third condition about purity of spiritual purity and physical purity. الشرط الرابع ستر الأورة. The fourth condition is that a person should have his private area covered. The private area covered. ودليله ما جاء يعني الحديث الثاني حديث 198 عن عائشة رضي الله عنها. The next hadith indicates that عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يقبل الله صلاة حائض إلا بخمار. وهذا الحديث صححه الشيخ الألباني وغيره. That the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said in the hadith of Aisha that Allah does not accept the prayer of the mature woman until or unless she wears a khimar, a head covering. Okay. والحائض يعني معناه من اتصف بالحيض أو أي أنها قد بلغت، هي بالغة، وليس المراد أنها متلبسة بالحيض، لأن الحائض أثناء الحيض لا تصح منها الصلاة، ولكن المراد أنها بلغت الحيض. So when the wording says literally that Allah does not accept the prayer of a menstruating woman until she wears the khimar, it doesn't mean while she's menstruating, obviously, because a woman when she's menstruating, she's not allowed to pray. But it means when she's reached the age of menses, meaning that she's now a mature woman, she's reached the age of maturity where she is obligated to do the prayer. Then when she prays, Allah will not accept her prayer unless she's wearing the cover on her head. So this shows that from the condition of the prayer is that satrul awra, because the hair is the awra for the woman. سواء كان يعني خارج الصلاة عند الأجانب أو داخل الصلاة يعني ولو كانت بوحدها. So this is the awra for the woman. جميع بدنها. The scholars say all of her body, is the awra ما عدا وجهها, except her face. That the woman's awra in the prayer is her whole body except her face. والخلاف في اليدين والقدمين. There's a difference of opinion about her hands, her kaffain والقدمين, her hands and her feet. Okay, so what is the woman's awra? All of her body except her face, and some scholars say her hands. Okay, there's difference of opinion regarding the hands and the feet. Some scholars say she has to cover her hands and feet. Other scholars say no, she doesn't have to cover her hands and feet. And some scholars say she doesn't have to cover her hands, but she has to cover her feet. Okay. والأخير هو الراجح والله أعلم. The most correct opinion is the last, that she has to cover her feet in the prayer. So she has to cover her whole body except her hands and her face. Okay. وبذلك يعني هناك اتفاق بين عورة المرأة داخل الصلاة أو خارج الصلاة عند الأجانب. Thereby, the aura of the woman becomes the same. Okay, what is the aura of the woman when she's in front of non-mahram men? According to some scholars, her whole body except her face and hands. That's one opinion. So, in this opinion, that would be the same as her aura in the prayer, right? Her whole body except her face and her hands. Okay, upon that opinion. So, what is the proof that she has to cover her feet? Okay, لأن أورتها أولا أورتها خارج الصلاة عند الأجانب يعني يدخل فيها قدماها because the feet are her aura in front of non-mahram. For non-mahram or foreign men, woman has to cover her feet. Okay, so that's the first proof. So if she has to cover her feet in front of the non-mahram men, okay, outside the prayer, even then in the prayer, likewise, okay, she has to, because the aura is similar. Okay, the aura is similar. So what is the proof that the feet are aura? Because we're talking about aura here. That's the ayah, first of all, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the ayah, يعني ولا يضربن بأرجلهن ليعلم ما يخفين من زينتهن. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He mentioned the aura of the woman in the Quran, He said she should not strike her feet, so that it will be known what she's hiding from her decoration. What decoration? ما يسمى بالخلاخيل. خلاخيل هي زينة القدم تلبس على الكعبين ولكن قد ينزل من الكعبين إلى ظهور القدمين. So what is the decoration like that she's hiding? Is ankle bracelets, which was common at that time. Women wore ankle bracelets, and these ankle bracelets were around the ankle, but they would sometimes go down upon the feet. So this was something was known to be covered. Okay, and those women who like to, be immodest, okay, they would make a trickery to show that there's, or tell people they have some decoration, so they would hit their feet. Okay, from the hypocrites or the like, hit their feet. The women would, so that people would know that they have some decoration, because otherwise it was unacceptable to show, and it's not allowed shar'an to show this decoration. So how would one cover this decoration? Cover the feet. Okay, so this shows the feet have to be covered to cover, as is understood, this place, and the only way it could be known was by hitting the feet, and striking or the feet on the ground and the like. So the point is that this is from the zina, or this is from the aura. And also, there's the next hadith. We'll skip to the hadith 200. Hadith واحد و200. Hadith 201 in my version. Hadith سلمة رضي الله عنها أنها سألت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أتصلي المرأة في درع وخمار بغير إزار؟ قال إذا كان الدرع سابغا يغطي ظهور قدميها. وهذا صححه الشيخ الألباني موقوفا لا مرفوعا. So the hadith that indicates also the meaning of the ayah, which is the aura of the woman, specifically now in prayer, that Salama, it's reported, actually authentic, is that her saying, that she said this, not the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but this is her statement that she would, or her action that she would cover that they also Salama wa Maymuna, also Maymuna radiallahu anha, she and Salama, they used to pray with a khimar, a head covering, wadir, and a like a long shirt. Okay, and it used to, or Salama said that she said it should cover the top of the feet, the top of the feet. So a woman doesn't have to wear socks necessarily, but it should be يعني ثوب واسع سابغ لظهور قدميها. It should be wide, okay, and long, so that it would cover the top of her feet. So when she makes sujood, of course, the bottom of the feet would show. That's not a problem, but it should cover the top of the feet while she's standing, and so on. So that's the proof, and. And also that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam يعني قال لأم سلمة أن لها أن تزيد من أن النساء لهن أن يزدن من ذيولهن شبرين أو ذراعا يمر على الأرض. Also there's another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he talks about the men, not having their clothes go below their ankles. هذا ما يسمى بالإسبال. هذا محرم على الرجال. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من جر ثوبه خيلاء يعني لا يكلمه الله. السلام ورحمة الله. That the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah does not لا ينظر إليه يوم القيامة. يعني من جر ثوبه خيلاء لا ينظر الله إليه يوم القيامة. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever drags his garment, meaning below his ankles, out of arrogance, to show off and boastfully, that Allah will not look at him on the Day of Judgment. And generally, we're not allowed to, whether out of arrogance or not. Based on another hadith, مَا تَحْتَ الْكَعْبَيْن فِي النَّارِ, whatever is below the ankles is in the fire. So a person cannot do it even not out of arrogance, and say, I'm not doing it arrogantly. Even so, it's not allowed. So what happened, that Salama radiallahu anha قالت كيف يصنع النساء بذيولهن. The Salama, when she heard this hadith, she said, what do the women do? Are the women also supposed to, put up their clothing? Meaning, if they do that, their feet would show. And that's not allowed. So the Prophet ﷺ clarified, no, this is only for the men. No, for the women, قال يعني يرخينها شبرا. He said, let it go down one handspan below the ankle. فقالت أم سلمة إذا تنكشف أقدامهن يعني تنكشف أقدامهن قال فيرخينه ذراعا ولا يزدن عليه. So the Salama said, even then it's not enough. If we just do one handspan, the feet will still show. So he said, then increase it another handspan, meaning about a forearm length. That's like two handspan. Thereby, they would drag their clothing on the ground and their feet would be covered. So this is the awra for the woman, covering the feet. I just say that because there's difference of opinion. Some scholars say the foot is not awra, okay? And these are the evidence that it is awra, in front of foreign men. And likewise, it's awra in the salah. The only difference is a woman in the salah, for sure, she doesn't have to cover her face. Okay, outside of salah, there's difference of opinion. Some scholars say wajib to cover her face, but if she's in the prayer, the men are passing by her in the prayer, they can see her. Even in the prayer, she should cover her face. Okay, or she must cover her face. Ala khilaf.
Yeah, so in the event that the woman is praying like somewhere like public, and if she prays without the niqab, there's a chance that non-mahram men might see her. What's the rule on that?
Yeah, if she's in front of non-mahram men, then at the very least she should cover her face. I mean, it's different. When it comes to the being in presence of non-mahram men, even though she's praying, there's different opinion about the face in front of non-mahram men. So for the scholars who say it's the face is awra for the woman in front of non-mahram men, she has to cover her face, although she's just praying. because this is different now. This is for the sake of the men, not for the prayer. Yeah. And on the opinion that is sunnah to cover the face, then she should cover her face. On that opinion.
For the men, what if it's something that they wear over, and it maybe will drag onto the ground?
Even so, any part of, even it could be the turban, the imama, veil imama, ma yajuz. Anything should not drag on the ground. Anything from the upper body, it could be overcoat, it could be the tail of the turban, it could be a cloth, like a sheet a person hangs around himself, pants, it's not just for thobe, it could be pants. All of that included, it should not go below the ankles. Okay, so that's for the woman. We talked about the woman. We said the proof is the ayah Allah mentioned for the awrah. We said also the hadith, Allah does not accept the prayer of the woman without khimar. Okay, so has to cover the head. Also, the action of the sahabiyat, they used to wear a long flowing shirt or like that would cover the top of their feet. Okay, for the men, okay. فهذا ما يسمى لأن العلماء قسموا العورة إلى 3 أقسام مخففة ومغلظة ومتوسطة. Also, when scholars talk about awrah, they mention 3 categories. Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen is saying that there's mughalladha, which is the very, very extreme, that is very, very important. Okay, and then there is or the highest level, okay, or the most of the covering. Then there's the mukhaffafa, which is the category which is the least to be covered, and this is depending on the sex, male or female, and the age, okay, of the person. Wal mutawassita, and the middle covering, which is we'll get to. So what is mughalladha? The highest covering, awratul mar'a al-baligha, سواء كانت حرة أو أمة على القول الراجح. وهذه الأورة هي جميع بدنها في الصلاة إلا وجهها. So this we mentioned. What is the highest level of covering, which is the woman, whether she a mature woman, okay, ha'id meaning mature, and that is all of her body except her face, and as we said, the correct opinion, and her hands, face and hands, upon that opinion. Okay, but like we said, if she's in front of the foreign men, she has to cover her face, and should cover her hands and face in that condition, although she's in prayer. Okay, what is the mukhaffafa? What is the least covering? Awratul dhakar min 7 سنين إلى 10 سنين. فإن أورته الفرجان القبل والدبر فلا يجب عليه أن يستر فخذه لأنه صغير وإن كان الأولى ستر الفخذ ليتأدب ويتعلم ذلك. So what is the least covering? This is for the boy, the young male who is not mature. He's between 7 and 10 years old. Between 7 and 10, what does he have to cover when he's praying? Just the major private area. He could be wearing a diaper, okay? He could be wearing shorts, and his prayer is fine because he's not baligh. He's not mature where he has to cover his thighs, okay? He doesn't have to cover all the way to the knees, from the navel to the knees, like a grown man. From the age of 7 to 10, he's excused. But it's better for him to train himself upon that to cover between the navel, the belly button, and the knees. That's better for him. But he doesn't have to. والمتوسطة ما عدا ذلك, that the rest of the people are متوسطة. فالواجب فيها ستر ما بين السرة والركبة. The rest of the people, not the mature women and not the small boys, they have to cover between the navel and the knees. والقول الراجح مع ذلك القسم الأعلى من البدن. And there's also opinion that they have to cover the upper part of their body. So who is this? Mature men, or actually above 10, after 10, even if he's not mature, but 10 is the cutoff. Now he has to pray. ويضرب لم يصلى ضربا خفيفا. The one who is ordered to pray is the 10-year-old. Okay, he has to now cover between his Likewise, as he's ordered to pray, he has to cover between his belly button and his knees, and also you could say upon his upper body. He should be covering his shoulder between like his shoulders, this area, his upper body, and also the girl, al-mar'a التي لم تبلغ هذه أوراتها. Also the woman, the young girl, she has to cover also the upper body and her down to her knees. ودليله ما جاء عند عبد الله بن جعفر بن أبي طالب عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ما بين السرة والركبة أورة. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said in the hadith, the proof is that which is between the navel and the belly button is أورة. ولكن يعني على لفظ الحديث أن الركبة ما تدخل والسرة نفسها ما تدخل في الأورة. فلو انكشفت السرة أو ركبة يعني أعلى الركبة وستر الفخذ فصلاته صحيحة. But that the wording it says that which is between the knee and the belly button. That means the top of the knee is not aura. So a person, for example, is praying, and for example, it slips. He's praying something and it slips above his knee. Okay, but it just shows just his knee. Then his prayer is fine. Okay, what is not allowed to show is his thigh in the prayer. Outside prayer or in prayer, he should not show his thigh, but especially in prayer, the leg, upper leg, but it could show the knee. Okay. And as far as the upper body, that is the last two hadith on this part of the subject. We'll mention them. Because we said he has to, the man and the young girl have to cover also the upper body. That's the hadith 199 عن جابر رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال أو قال له إذا كان الثوب واسعا فالتحف به يعني في الصلاة. ولمسلم وخالف بين أطرافيه أو بين طرفيه وإن كان ضيقا فاتزر به. والحديث التالي من حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال لا يصلي أحدكم في الثوب الواحد ليس على عاتقيه أو عاتقه منه شيء. The proof is that a person should cover his upper body. The main proof, the Prophet ﷺ said, one of you must not pray in one single garment that which does not cover his upper, like his, you could say this area between the shoulder and the neck, this area should cover in one direction both, on both sides. So when he's praying, okay, so this is like even if he has one garment, there's a way to wrap around. You cover your obviously between your lower legs, obviously your thighs, and also you cover this area. So that's the proof. This is for the 10-year-old or older, or for the small girls who are less than 10. لا يصلين أحدكم في الثوب الواحد ليس على عاتقيه منه شيء. وأيضا من حديث بريدة نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يصلي الرجل في سراويل وليس عليه رداء. Also another hadith, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم forbade that a person should pray just in pants or and so on without having upper garment. So a person should have upper garment as well. So unless he doesn't have enough clothing. مثلا إنسان فقير ليس له إلا ثوب واحد والثوب هذا ضيق عليه ما يتسع أن يستر يعني القسم الأعلى والقسم الأدنى من أو الأسفل من بدنه. فمن باب الضرورة يكتفي بستر القسم الأدنى أو الأسفل لأن هذا يعني أولى بالستر من الأعلى. Except if a person does not have enough clothes, okay, then he's excused. Okay, if he doesn't have just only one cloth, as was the case in the time people were poor, and is not wide enough to cover both top and bottom. So which does he give preference? The bottom. Okay, obviously, that is the most severe. So even if in this case he only can cover between his belly button and his knees, and is nothing on his top of his body, it's darura. It's no, he's excused. He doesn't have enough clothes, so he can pray like that. بل يجوز للإنسان أن يصلي عريانا إذا لم يكن له لباس. Rather, a person can even pray naked if he doesn't have any clothing. He still prays, but in this case he's excused. He doesn't say, I don't have clothes, so I won't pray. No, you still pray on any condition you have if you don't have enough. So that's the proof, the hadith we mentioned, hadith 199. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam قال وإن كان ضيقا فاتزر به متفق عليه. That if a person does not have enough clothes, then he should cover it to his lower garment. اتزر يعني اتخذه إزارا. اتزر يعني من إزار. He should put the izar on his lower garment. That is enough for him. So that's the condition. If a person has clothing, he doesn't cover these areas, which we indicated, then his prayer is batil, is false. So we took today, then these four, we've taken so far 4 conditions. The first, we said dukhul al-waqt. The second, al-tahara, purity in his spiritual, having wudu. يعني الشناب النجاسة, that he should not have any filth on his clothing or his body. And satrul al-awra, that he should be covered. Okay, we also mentioned من شروط ستر الأوراق يعني أن الثوب لا يشف ولا يصف. لا يشف يعني عن لون البشرة، ولا يصف يعني لا يحدد ولا يحجم العضو. فمثلا في للمرأة إذا لبست ثوبا قصيرا وتحته جوارب، لكن الجوارب هذه يعني معلوم أنها تحدد العضو، فهل صلاتها صحيحة؟ قلنا لا، لأن هذه الجوارب تصف العضو، فلا بد أن يكون الثوب واسعا سابغا لظهور قدميها. وكذلك الرجل إذا لبس سراويل ضيقة فهذه تصف، أو لبس ما هو شفافة يعني أنها يشف يعني لونة البشر وإن كانت سابغا للعورة، ولكن يرى لون البشرة، فهذا لا تصح صلاته. So a person, for example, when we say that it has to cover, there's some more detail to what is covering. Okay, it should have satisfied 2 things. It should not be see-through, that a person can see the color of his skin underneath, and should not be so tight that it defines the body limbs. Okay, so for a woman, for example, who prays with short, like maybe half of her shin, like a dress to her shin, and she wears long socks underneath. She says, I'm covered, but rather she's not covered, because these socks, even if they're not see-through, they're defining the shape of her leg, her foot and her leg. So therefore, this would not satisfy covering the aura. So she has to wear, like we said, long flowing garment all the way covering to the top of her feet. Her prayer is not acceptable like this. Needless to say, that applies to her upper body as well. Woman covering all her skin, but the clothing is tight, and she prays in that, then this defines her aura by the shape. So therefore, it would not be acceptable. Likewise, the men. This is for the men also. They wear tight jeans, which unfortunately is a fashion in some areas. This tight jeans, they are showing the thighs, and worse than that. So in this case, because it's showing the shape of the body, this does not satisfy covering the aura. There should be loose pants. If they have to wear pants while he's praying, otherwise the best thing that a person should have like a thobe with him in his car, at his work. It comes time to pray, just slip on the thobe or izar, wrap the izar, the sheet around the main place, which is the legs, and pray like that is better. And هذه الصلاة هذه رأس المال. This is the most important thing for us. Is the prayer. We shouldn't take chances with it that our aura may show or be tight and the like, because the person wants to make sure his prayer is acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the first thing he'll be asked about يوم القيامة. أول ما يحاسب عليه العبد يوم القيامة الصلاة. فإن صلحت صلح سائر عمله. That if the first thing the person that will be asked about in the day of judgment is our prayer. And if the prayer is good, then the rest of our account will be good, because the prayer affects the rest of our actions. Okay? And it helps us to be good in this life, in all affairs. So that's some more detail regarding. Okay, any questions on that those conditions we took today? Otherwise, we'll continue on those conditions. نستمر إن شاء الله في الحديث عن شروط الصلاة في درس قادم إن كان في العمر بقية. والله تعالى أعلى وأعلم، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين، وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين، وجزاكم الله خيرا أجمعين.